Singh. You heard from our top BJP leader, Mr. Prasad, on the show. Of course, the BJP is saying betrayal. Could Nitish have made to ensure that this alliance continues? Or do you think that Nitish had made up his mind to exit and he was looking only for reasons, perhaps?
Maria, just allow me 2 minutes because I'll need 2 seconds to elaborate on it. See, I mean, what you're seeing is the antics. What you're seeing is what played on and what we are basically trying to reflect on what happened and how it happened. But I think there's a larger sociological angle, a psychological angle attached to it. See, Bihar, the politics in Bihar is fed on caste, and that cannot be ignored. Now, both Nitish Kumar, despite his claim of being a Susashan Babu, was slipping down that angle, particularly in the last few years. And both Lalu Yadav's party and Nitish Kumar's party are basically parties which feed on the same OBC minority, lower OBC, Mahadalit vote, and both of them had carved out particular sections for themselves. Now, what the BJP brought to the table was developmentalism, nationalism, religiosity, and that combination became a very formidable combination. Now, why did the BJP allow Nitish Kumar to go on to become the chief minister? Was primarily because this was also a work in process, because it also allowed the BJP to get into the caste configuration, get into the caste equation. And I think the BJP now feels, I mean, if you look to the language and the confidence with which the former minister was speaking, or my co-panelist Guru Prakash ji is speaking, they know that their project is in process and perhaps in the right direction. And I think Nitish Kumar also sensed it quite early. So perhaps that is the reason why the two came to a point from where there was no return, and this was bound to happen. It's not just about it's not about some minister getting in or not getting in. It's primarily the contradiction which plays out because of the sociological.
Was this bound to happen? Let me take that question to Pawan Verma. Pawan Verma, you are one of those very few leaders in India today who understand Nitish Kumar's mind. Was this bound to happen? It was almost certain that Nitish Kumar would walk out of this alliance?
I think the BJP did all that it could to have this Gathbandhan broken. I can say to you with as much knowledge and honesty that I have, that even in 2017, after Nitish Kumar had joined the hands with the BJP to form a government, he was uncomfortable with some of the policies of the BJP, in particular its attempt to create social disharmony by the use of religion, which we otherwise call communalism. In this case, they began to treat Mr. Nitish Kumar as an optional accessory to the BJP's march to power in Bihar. And their attempts to cut him down to size were transparently Machiavellian. I mean, the use of Chirag Paswan in the 2020 elections on the behest of the BJP to put up candidates against JDU candidates in order to ensure that Nitish Kumar is the junior partner in this alliance in a very demonstrative way and is therefore more dependent on the BJP's dominance, was apparent, and Nitish ji was fully aware of
it. Okay, before I bring in Guru, since he wants to come in, I want to also understand from you, Pawan Verma, that you're talking about this communal angle to it. My question is that when Bihar witnessed elections in 2020, Nitish Kumar and BJP fought jointly. It was a mandate for Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Nitish Kumar. It was a joint mandate. Then didn't he really make it about opportunism and convenience, and then all of a sudden he realizes that there is some kind of conscience that he must awaken, and then he walked out of this alliance? I mean, today the questions will be asked because of the number of U-turns that Nitish Kumar has done. What does he really stand for? What is Nitish Kumar's politics? What does he believe in?
I think he stands for a tall secular leader. When I say secular, I don't mean it in the sense that he has a basic antipathy to the policies of the BJP. And I assume that he presumed that with him as chief minister, perhaps these tendencies would be kept in check. But he was closely observing what is happening not only in Bihar, but nationally. And as far as opportunism goes, Maria, the BJP had heaped abuses on Nitish Kumar when Nitish Kumar was opposing the BJP led by Narendra Modi. But they joined hands with him. It's my gut feeling that he was never very comfortable with it, especially since the BJP, in its overweening ambition to come to power in Bihar on its own, was almost on a daily basis humiliating the chief minister and putting obstructions in his governance agenda, which beyond a point Nitish ji could not take. So I think the BJP must understand that if JP Nadda says that there is no place for any regional party or party except the BJP, this kind of arrogance in a country like India is bound to create reactions in other parties.
Okay, Guru Paswan, you heard from Pawan Verma, and that has been really the view that I have picked up from multiple sources in the JDU, that BJP in many ways was humiliating Nitish Kumar. If despite of being in alliance, Nitish Kumar has managed to create this victim image, what does it do for the BJP going ahead on the streets when you will question and you say that Nitish has betrayed? If anything, Nitish has managed to communicate that he has been made a victim and he was being humiliated in this alliance.
Maria, if you can allow me to respond to Mr. Pawan Verma, he gave a long speech about social harmony and about how communal the Bharatiya Janata Party is. If speaking about the Pasmandas is communal, we are communal. If removing triple talaq is communal, we are communal. Who is communal? The people of Uttar Pradesh have resoundingly said in the polls of Rampur and Azamgarh, in the entire discourse in the Uttar Pradesh, when we were talking about Ganna, who was talking about Jinnah? So we don't need any lessons on social harmony from someone who has defected so many parties. Point number one. Point number two, as far as Nitish Kumar is concerned, if today we have so many, remember Maria, it's a day of social media, it's an age of social media. You just need to scroll through the Twitter timeline and you would get all the reality. Bhishma Pitama of corruption, mitti mein mil jayenge, inke saath nahi jayenge. What is all this? The youngsters of Bihar are going to ask this question. It is not the Bihar of 1990s, it is not the Bihar of 1995. Neither it's India of 1990s and 1995. Tejasvi Yadav is trying to evolve. Rahul Gandhi has been evolving since 2004. It is not going to work. And let me put this very straight on your show tonight. Never did JP, 10 seconds, okay. 10 seconds. Never did JP Nadda ji said that regional parties would disappear. He said family-based political parties based on one individual, political parties that thrive on the idea of corruption will no longer exist in the Indian political landscape, not about the regional parties.